by IMI. Today is one of the most. We have a very interesting person giving the keynote speech for this conference. I have with me Jameson, Senior Vice President and General Manager, APAC Here Technologies, and he will be talking about maximizing visibility in end-to-end supply chain logistics. I'd like to hand it over to Jason to take it forward and start the keynote speech of this conference. Over to you, Jason.
Hi, thanks, Soham, and great to have the opportunity to be here to present to everybody. So look, as Soham said, I'm Jason Jameson. I recently joined Here Technologies as the Senior Vice President and GM here for APAC. And I'm really pleased to be able to present today's keynote at the IAMAI Logistics Tech Conference, and really focusing on how to increase visibility in the end-to-end supply chain logistics, and share with you the role that Here Technologies can play to support your businesses. So let me start with just a little bit of context about Here Technologies. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this, others may not be, but who are we? So Here Technologies is a location data and technology platform company. So we help our customers understand and model a world that's always moving and changing. And we produce something that we call a digital representation of reality. So it's a map, but it's really much more than what we would conventionally think of as a map. It's a living, dynamic, and continuously updating roads, but more and more of the world in 3 dimensions. So, and this, representation of reality is really the basis for us and our customers to understand how people, places, and things all connect together. So Here Technologies has over 8,000 employees in offices in 56 countries, and it gives us a very strong local presence in key markets internationally. The roots of Here Technologies really extends back to 1985, when a small team started developing the first digital map database of the San Francisco Bay Area. And the company's goal since then has pretty much remained the same, and that's to develop the best maps and location experiences for people and businesses to navigate their world. So, Here Technologies really has here we go, let's get to the next chart here about India. And I will say that, we've built a very strong presence in India over the past decade. We have offices in 9 cities across India. And more importantly, 40% of our workforce globally is based in India, so approximately 4,000 employees. We have core competencies managed out of India, includes our data operations, engineering, IT, product teams, our sales team, all distributed across the country. And in fact, the last 6 years, he's been recognized as one of the best companies to work for in India with the Great Place to Work program. So, we have a very big presence. We're doing a lot of work in the India market. But of course, being an international company and being a company in this field means that we're not working alone. We've partnered with some of the best minds and organizations globally in support of our mission to deliver the best possible location services experience. And here on this chart, I'm showing you our partners that make this happen. Firstly, we count on almost every major car company as one of our customers. And that gives us a lot of access to signal data that helps us improve elements of all the things we're doing around location services. But we also have relationships with many of the tier 1 vendors and solution providers globally. We also work with numerous national, state and regional transportation agencies and traffic management centers. We work with fleet and on-demand companies like here in Asia with Grab. We work with GIS and geospatial specialists like Esri, telco companies like SK Telecom, and conglomerates like Mitsubishi Corporation. And look, as part of this event, we'll be having some of our trusted partners, namely Oracle and TC, joining as panelists. So please look out for those sessions. So look, now that you have some background about Here, let's move on to the topic of today, which is how can location technology power the logistics demand of today and tomorrow? And I'm really going to touch on two of the fund elements that will drive visibility in end-to-end supply chain logistics, which is fleet management and, of course, supply chain itself. So let's start with the overall view of the global logistics market. It is huge. The opportunities in the logistics industry is 5.4 trillion US dollars. That clearly is a massive amount. And half of this market opportunity comes from land transport. So you look at this whole spectrum, half of that sits in land transport. And this actually grows to 70% when you combine air, sea, and inland transport altogether. And when you look at the growth rates, the fastest growing area is this courier, express, and parcel services area, which is growing at 7%. And really, to maximize the efficiencies and value across multimodal transportation, fleet management, and of course, the role of location services is critical. And I'll talk a little more about fleet management shortly, but it covers that piece around transportation and getting to the last mile. Look, another fundamental driver, and sort of taking a step back of logistics right now, is the increasing demand driven by the uptake of e-commerce. With better internet access, along with the efficient, effective, and quick distribution of goods, and consumers, really are turning their attention to going from physical to online shopping, which is, it's a macro change that we're seeing. E-commerce is just one part of this whole courier, express, and parcel services, so CEP area that I just talked about, which has really undoubtedly taken the world by storm, especially with the outbreak of COVID-19 last year. This has had a really significant impact. And in fact, if you look at the e-commerce sales by region, we can actually see that APAC is widely contributing to the global e-commerce market, with over 60% of transactions stemming out of this APAC region. So look, the boom in e-commerce, represents in APAC is about 24% last year. That's the latest data. And things like higher consumer delivery expectations combined with COVID-19 restrictions has really led to some key trends that we've observed. First, the diversification of products sold online. I mean, people are buying groceries, pharmaceutical goods, apparel, they're buying furniture, they're buying a whole bunch of things and more online. And this is a dramatic, a very big step up in buying behavior. Secondly, at the receiver end, customers are demanding, much more demanding around the last mile and that delivery experience, including shipment visibility. So, where is my package? More precise estimated time of arrival, the ETAs. So, when can I get my package? And then also doing all this, consumers are not wanting to spend a lot of extra money, right? So this puts pressure on suppliers, especially when they have to reconfigure their last mile fleet to deal with demands and shifts and spikes. And last but not least, customers have started to look out for alternate delivery solutions, right? So on-demand deliveries or curbside deliveries, pickup deliveries, etc. And this is an increasing trend that will continue. So how is this going to matter in India? Well, I think the first thing is that we've seen far too many buyer feedbacks that have sort of mentioned that they've experienced goods delivered to the wrong address. This is pretty basic. But how this might happen actually stems from the structure of addressing to the input of the addresses in online purchases. And in a recent study of consumer behavior, the analysis we did in India by Point Consulting Research, one of the key findings was that more respondents find it easier to actually to enter their addresses using Amazon or Flipkart because of their implementation of a structured address framework. And this approach helps remove ambiguity and inconsistencies and really greatly improves the accuracy of last mile delivery. So it really does start at that transaction level to get it right. And in the same consumer study that I just referred to, it also shows that besides having a proper framework for the addressing fields and all the landmarks and stuff like that, additional address fields would also be quite useful. And really results that we've seen in the study indicate there's no standout address field that's missing, right? But it's rather elements such as providing a contact number, which would help, as well as the ability to add GPS coordinates for their location. The other thing we found in India is that POIs, so points of interest, are also used by Indian users when searching for addresses and places. And it's clear to see that offering nearby landmark details, is considered part of address information. For example, corner with the big billboard or the red mailbox. And more than a fifth, almost a quarter of users use this as a field of entry, and rank it as either number one or number two in terms of importance. So it's a very interesting local dynamics in the India market. So look, let me provide an example of this in practice, how location intelligence can help all stages of the logistics journey. At the start of the journey, the planning, the transportation planning, and this is about trying to improve the on-time performance and efficiency with dynamic route optimization. And then you move on to the execution. This is about providing the customer with real-time multimodal shipment visibility. So identifying possible disruptions that might happen and avoid them along the way and derive real-time ETA and ETD, so estimated time of delivery notifications. Then you sort of go to the freight handovers. And it's really important to enable smoother inbound logistic operations and handovers and really reduce waiting times, idle times with yard mapping, so mapping of the physical distribution facilities and navigation. And then finally, well, not quite finally, you get to the last mile. This is finally before the parcel's delivered. This is about optimizing the operational efficiency and on-time performance and reduce the cost to serve, cost to delivery. And there's obviously a lot of things can go wrong in the last mile because there's so much more dynamic things happening, traffic, etc. And look, finally, there's the post-trip analysis. And this is really about deriving insights, using predictive data analytics for future business improvement, right? So you feed the information on the overall end-to-end delivery into machine learning algorithms and look at things like driver behavior, etc., to get the right types of assessments. For example, you can use this for usage-based insurance and other types of requirements. So let me share now a little bit about how HERE technologies with our fleet management solutions and using our location intelligence capabilities have been able to address these sorts of challenges, by providing really a safer and more efficient deliveries from the first mile to the last mile. And this spans across all important areas such as planning the best routes I mentioned, avoiding impending hazards ahead. I mean, this could be areas that flood when it rains heavily, or it could be known traffic areas where there's traffic because of things like road construction or whatever, as well as to improve driver performance and safety. So our fleet management solutions are packaged and delivered with our HERE platform. So that's all, map content, there's APIs, there's software development kits, and they really solve very specific needs in the fleet management market. So number one, it's dynamic route optimization. So this solves really for the problem of unreliable commercial vehicle planning and then ETA calculations. It's quite difficult to work out, when things will arrive. So being able to solve that by taking lots of different inputs is what we can do. The second thing is driver-facing solutions. So, this really solves for the problem of drivers needing specialized apps for navigation, for job scheduling, and on-road, disruptions in a dynamic manner. The third area is commercial vehicle visibility. So it's about tracking, vehicles in real time, solves for that problem. The fourth area is driver and job analysis. And this really solves for the problem of analyzing driver behavior, aggressive acceleration, braking, dangerous cornering, etc., as well as helping to assess safety, working too long on shifts and those sorts of things, rest times, rest areas, that sort of cool stuff. And then finally, there's the Here Last Mile, which is really a turnkey SaaS application that solves for job planning, dynamic replanning, dispatch, and tracking in last mile. And this is all enabled by our location technology platform, as well as you can see some examples of the organizations that we've partnered with delivering these solutions and customers. So now, look, let's take a little bit of a deeper look at supply chain visibility and how location intelligence can enable shipment efficiencies and end-to-end improvements in logistics. So really, I want to start with some trends related to supply chain visibility. Even before COVID-19, I think we know that there was an increasing need for companies to gain improved visibility of their supply chain. And if you look at on this chart, you can see that this represents about 80% of the companies in the industry are saying they still lack the basic visibility of their supply chains. In addition, 70% of businesses find it too complex to predict their ETAs, estimated time of arrivals, accurately at each of the journey points. And you think about this is almost 3/4 of businesses find this problem too complex to predict. And you think about the impact this has when you think from a customer service standpoint, etc. And of course, you add COVID-19 over the top of this, and this has really accelerated that trend and challenge for companies, right? It's become really key for business to invest in supply chain visibility. This is a point of differentiation. If you can accurately predict when goods will arrive, this, once again, I mentioned customer service, but also prevents and avoids rework and other costly aspects of having a sub-optimized supply chain. If we move on, location technology really makes any sort of supply chain completely resilient, right? Irrespective of what is the underlying business solution that's being used, from execution to sort of post-trip analysis. So if you think about execution, this is about providing your customer with real-time multimodal shipment visibility, identifying disruptions and to derive all those real-time calculations around ETA and ETD. Then there's the handover. So, you've got to enable smoother inbound logistics operations and handovers and reduce the waiting times with yard mapping and navigation, like we talked about before. And then that post-trip analysis, which is about deriving insights with that predictive data, machine learning, analytics for future business improvement. So this is really the key of how we help with the supply chain. And why do you want to invest in supply chain? So we saw the challenges just before about what customers face when trying to get visibility of their supply chain, and what are the benefits if you do invest in supply chain visibility? Well, firstly, there's quite a few I'd like to call out. Firstly, a 10 to 20% decrease in downtime. And this is, through like an on-time and full delivery process. So being able to predict the location of a good from warehouse to distribution center to end-to-end customer delivery, and really to alert the end customer of any of the predicted delays, right? Doing it proactively. Right? Hey, look, your shipment's delayed. Here's when we expect it'll be turning up. And so that's a big, up to a quarter improvement in downtime, right? A 15 to 20% increase in workforce productivity. I mean, this is massive, right? Through more focused resource planning, reduced idle times for both resource and, of course, expensive equipment and assets that you have. And then a 20 to 40% improvement in the ETA prediction. And you think this will, you do this through better planning, better middle and last mile execution, better end-to-end, delivers, better end-to-end customer experience, and that'll improve NPS, Net Promoter Score. So you can see this solves cost and customer experience, which can deliver top line growth as well as bottom line growth. And so here Technologies, we can help you really improve your supply chain visibility through our solution, which is called Here Shipment Visibility. And I'll give you an example of this in just a few moments. But what does Here Shipment Visibility do? Well, firstly, it does tracking anything, anywhere. It can track shipments seamlessly indoor and outdoor. It can do it on the road, in the air, and in the ocean. We can do multimodal ETAs, which means, you get best-in-class estimated time of arrivals when your shipment's with a third-party carrier. We can detect damage, can monitor the shipment conditions and let you know if there's damage. The other thing is the HERE platform that benefits from all the customization that you can do, such as venue or yard maps on top of the HERE platforms for your specific environment. And of course, there's improved metrics, right? So it increases the OTIF, performance, to meet SLAs, reduce costs, boost NPS. So a lot of stuff can be done around supply chain visibility here. Now, I'd like to share a reference which we have with Siemens Healthineers, and they have 120 years of experience, over 50,000, I should say, employees in more than 70 countries. And their challenge was really linked to the complexity of coordination and tracking of spare parts, and high-value medical equipment. And this includes, basically 4 key challenges, right? One, complex multimodal supply chain. First, they have to got this daily coordination with multiple multimodal freight forwarders globally. Secondly, lack of real-time visibility, the lacking of delivery status and shipment condition information, deliveries to the wrong location. The third thing, wasted technicians' times, searching for spare parts inside huge hospitals and delays in delivery and installation. And then the other thing is significant costs and risks, right? With excessive downtime and unreliable SLA compliance, dead on arrival shipments, all those sorts of things that they wanted to address. And we worked with the team at Siemens Healthineers, I should say, to develop a shipment visibility solution for tracking and monitoring of location, condition, and ETA of medical equipment service parts. Really to bring real-time end-to-end visibility into their outbound supply chain. And so, to achieve this, a smart sensor tracking device was developed to enable complete shipment condition monitoring, with global connectivity and the ability to record data offline. Based on HERE technologies, Siemens Healthineers customer services engineers are now able to track the location of service parts during transit and after delivery inside a hospital and monitor their condition in real time. And really, in this way, we're helping to improve health outcomes for patients of hospitals. And really, this is just one example of how location services can help our society as a whole. And, there are many other opportunities how location services can connect the world. So look, as I get to my closing, the solid foundation of HERE's global platform and ecosystem lies in really the 3 decades of experience that we bring in the industry of location technology. As I mentioned earlier, and we are the trusted partners that many of our customers have counted on for a very long time. And so really, if there are only 2 things you take away from the session today, it'd be, number one, we want to actively help you make the best of the opportunities of location technology to enable your logistics use cases. You've seen the many ways that location services can provide high impact end-to-end visibility of the supply chain just in this presentation. Yet the second point is that we're here to partner up, to co-develop and to co-create. And really the focus is all on you and your business, right? To enable your use cases and to really enable your success in improving your business. And look, with that, I'd like to thank you for your time today and really encourage you to download our latest report in partnership with Frost & Sullivan, which we funded, which discusses the challenges and opportunities in fleet management, asset tracking, and shipment visibility. So all the things I've talked about around getting that end-to-end logistics supply chain visibility, right? So you can scan the QR code here on the screen to access this report. Also, Frost & Sullivan have a session at this conference, which I encourage you to attend if you want to learn more. So look, with that, I'd like to thank you and enjoy the rest of the Logistics Tech Conference over the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for a very interesting and exciting presentation on end-to-end logistics. I'm sure our delegates would have enjoyed your presentation and the knowledge that they've gained from it. To conclude this keynote speech, I would like to thank our title partner, HERE Technologies, powered by partner Pando, brought to you by partner Grey Orange, and supported by Logistics Skill, who have helped in making this conference happen. And delegates look forward to the upcoming sessions at Logistics Tech 2021. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everyone. And yes.
Thanks very much.